Hello everybody, Thy Lord Root here, and welcome back to another episode of Flight for Survival. So I've been on a bit of a hiatus for the past week and a half or so. I've been taking care of my neighbor, but I finally got some time back in to work on this project here, and one of the first things we need to return to is docking our X-probe experiment. You'll notice here that we did get rid of Rodviz. Or not Rodviz, but John's, or he will no longer be bothering us. But on the flip side, we do happen to have this guy here that we need to dock. So we will get that going sooner rather than later. And I'm just going to go ahead and get this guy docked to Kerbin Station. We are a little bit low on the fuel consumption here, and we will want to do something about that. And so what I'm going to do is very briefly try to get ourselves up to Periapsis and try to get a rendezvous going. And that actually may not happen for a while. There will be several orbits we'll have to wait in order to do this. But on the flip side, we will get him pretty close. So this is a 9-kilometer intercept. If we move this in a little bit closer, we can get this guy in about as close as you can imagine. We've got intercept right about here. And of course KSP is wigging out again for reasons that are somewhat unknown to me. Let's see how long we'd have to wait. We'd have to wait about a day. So that is an intercept of about 7 hours or so. And we might actually want to be careful about that, because the maneuver node system has a habit of lying here. I guess we'll see. But we will put that on the timer, and I'll give us, even though it's not that big of a burn, I will give us a fair amount of time to do that. So let's just maybe give ourselves 3 minutes. We will add that alarm, and we will get back to another thing I want to do, because I realized that I didn't spend my science in all that great of a way. And it turns out that we've got the satellite network that I need to be thinking about replacing pretty soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the launch pad. I've trimmed down just a little bit of this Mooner Explorer, this Minmus Explorer. It does not have as many, I mean, it costs about the same, but we do have tons of Delta V here. And we will send Gilsey out while we are waiting. It'll take some time for us to get to where we want to get going, and so we'll have to think about that. But in the interim, we can get this guy launched and get him up and going. He's tucked inside that fairing, and I think this will be a good deal for us. We will just want to, once we're stable, which it looks like we are, we will want to just go ahead and begin our launch. Now we can go ahead and get this guy up and going. And basically, we're going to put him on a polar orbit around Minmus, which is not going to be the easiest thing for us to do. I need to watch my surface velocity, maybe turn on volume control here. We're going to have to take a little bit more different of an approach with the polar orbit, but that shouldn't be too difficult for us to do, so I'm going to start pitching over. And I believe the best way for us to get an efficient exit out of the atmosphere is for us to make sure that our time to apoapsis does not exceed, or it's at least 30 seconds. That seems to be the best way here. So we're going to send Gilsey to the poles, and that will help significantly. You can see we do need to lower our eccentricity some. Maybe I'm apparently pitched the wrong way. For Minmus, some eccentricity is desirable, but it's easier for us to basically maintain this heading. We've got plenty of delta V in order to do it. Unfortunately, we've now got this issue where we are very much off course. We do want to raise or lower our inclination as soon as we can. So, I'm going to begin turning over just a little bit. And try to keep this thing level. As you can see, we're a little bit less efficient. But as I said, it doesn't really matter that much if we're a little bit too steep, because that's better than being too shallow. If we're too shallow, we will burn up in the atmosphere. And that would be a bit of a problem for us. But since we've got 8 hours to go, it's really not all that bad of a deal for us. And we will pop fairings relatively soon. You can see I'm still doing the single stage rocket here. That's largely because of the fact that the single stage rocket, at least in my opinion, is a little bit easier to control. this case, it doesn't matter as much. Okay, we need to start pitching over here. Going in a little bit too steep now. Oh yeah, you can see we completely redesigned this lander. Which is good for us. I mean, we definitely want this guy here to be as, close to orbit as possible. We just want to lower this down just a little bit. By the way, this does happen to be quite inefficient what I'm doing, but there's really no way around it at this point because I'm burning too steeply. And there we go. We still have plenty of delta V left, but I want this to go back into the atmosphere, so I am just going to pop this guy off. Take off flying control because we no longer really need it. We got some 7 minutes until apoapsis. Now Rodviz, I believe we might be able to save him still. That is a difficult call for us to make, but he's been in space for a long time, so there is some difficulty in saying that. That's about as good as you can get, I think, on that apoapsis. We've got ourselves basically a transfer stage and a lander. And I've basically redesigned this thing so that we have our fuel tanks on the side and our lander, our experimental stuff, more or less in the center. And this will be enough for us. I did make sure that we did keep life support and everything like that going. We got about 30 days of life support. So we'll just want to get out of the atmosphere pretty soon. And we've got an 88 meter per second burn. Almost on the dot there. Now, I don't quite believe that... Okay, it says this is a 2-minute 29-second burn. That's more reasonable, I think. And we don't have to be perfectly circular because I'm going to go about this in a roundabout way, as we shall see. I did pass that just a little bit. But we now are quite polar. Or not polar, but quite orbit. We will be polar soon. That's good enough. I don't need a perfect orbit here. And eccentricity is actually fairly low. So I'm just going to zoom out real quick, and I'm going to target Minmus. Now normally what I'd do here is I would go ahead and do my inclination change. That's not going to be good for what we're trying to do. I mean, we're wanting right now to get in as close as we can. We are very slightly inclined, it would seem. and our ascending node is pretty close to where we want to be. This is 4,300 miles, or 43 million meters. We want to be at about 46 to hit Minmus. And our inclination change is going to be difficult to do here, so I am going to basically work to get this thing down to where it needs to be. So this comes down quite a good bit. And with this being the case, we should have a fairly decent intercept. We need to... What I want to basically do here is I want to get this guy down to an area where we can easily figure out what our deal is going to be. Oh, there we go. And I think that may be a good start. I'm not entirely sure about that though, because I didn't pick the best spot for that, but we want to do something a little bit different here as well. The Minmus periapsis is a little bit too high. And because of that, we really have to decide between a number of things. I think we've gone a little bit too low. We want a little bit of a periapsis here. I mean, we've got a fair amount of time to make that happen. That's carbon apoapsis. We're, again, too low. I mean, essentially what I'm trying to do right now is... Oh, that's actually perfect, baby. See, ascending node is there. If there's a way that I can come in, oops, if I can come in at an angle here, maybe like that. And get this guy down to maybe something along these lines, and that'll work. And so we will go ahead and get out to the poles. And that is a little bit more than I would normally burn, but we've got plenty of fuel. We just want to do a very simple circularization maneuver here. or not even circularization at this point, because really all it's going to take us is maybe some orbital capture, and it will take us a bit of time to get up to where we need to go. But yeah, I'm gonna do it about here. We may be a little bit late, but that will be corrected soon. No, I'm thinking maybe what I'm going to do in coming episodes is those of you who've been keeping up with the KSP developers may know that there's going to be Spaceplane Plus integrated into the new version of KSP that's coming up, which is fantastic. I mean, it's I think that they are definitely doing some things to make space planes a little bit more fun. I mean, they are pretty fun, but being that now reusability is supposed to be a big concern for us, I'm going to go ahead and install it because I think it's one of the best things we can do. These guys, or this guy here, this is going to be a 7-day encounter. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this guy down as soon as I can. I'm going to get him going, and then what we'll do after that is we will essentially go ahead and get ourselves a little bit of a, get that, experiment probe thing docked, and that will help us quite a great deal. There may be balance issues here. I'm not entirely sure of that. Got an intercept with the moon that I did not expect to happen. We'll just try to get that in about where it needs to be. That appears to be about right. That may throw off our maneuver node a bit. It sure has. Which means that I need to go through here now and maybe lower my apsis. Until we get ourselves an encounter here. Because I reckon we are a little bit further away than we want to be, and I just had this. I'm gonna burn a little bit more towards Minmus here. We're actually a little bit We need to be about 46 meters or so. 46,000 kilometers. Which I did not reach. Okay, there we go. If I go ahead and get this going, that may end up being a bit of an issue. I think we are a little bit, I want to come over the top here. Maybe the best way for me to do this is to focus on Minmus to see if we do this, basically where we'll end up. I think we will end up where we want to be. We just want to get down a little bit closer to the planet. I don't even know where this thing begins. Is there a way, I wonder, that we can make ourselves get closer in? I mean, this does appear to be promising. We will just have to be careful here. And maybe we'll do some radial burn here to get in as close as possible. Let's see. Yeah, that's gonna be probably the best we can do. But if we take this maneuver here, we only have to kill... I mean, that will put us more or less on a polar trajectory, which is what I'd like to have here. We won't have much in the way of time to do anything about it, but I think this will be okay, so I'm gonna commit this burn here, and we'll give ourselves about a minute. Sounds good. And we'll just wait for our experimental probe to get to about where it needs to be. And maybe while we're waiting on the sky here, we do have to be careful here because power is going to be a bit of an issue. We want to be pointed towards the sun. But we're about to go back to the sky here. And we will just jump to the ship. Maneuver node should remain restored. We should be docking pretty easily now. which is good for us. Alright, we will get on down here real quick. In fact, I might just use RCS to commit this burn. Let me just delete this maneuver node here. And we are, whoa, okay. Maybe fine control will help us. Let's see how close we are. I'm just gonna kill this guy here. We are 6.2 kilometers. And you know what, May? We could even bring that down just a little bit. This does turn out to be more than enough for us, though, if we... You know, we get back over here, and maybe... do some changes to get us close in. Will that lower our intercept? More than likely. And we are now about to get over here. Coming in at a very sedate pace here. We just want to make sure we are close enough in, and I think we will be. We have plenty of RCS, so we don't really have to worry too much about that, but... Now, where is... Aha. There we go. That does not... That's helping us a little bit, but... I think we would do better if we burn towards our target. And indeed, we are getting a little bit closer in. So that's in 3 minutes. And we will lose velocity. Why are we throttling back time warp? I'm not sure I understand. But if we take a look at this, we should see this guy pretty close to us. And that's something that we will probably find very helpful. Let's see. Now the main question is going to be... Oh, there we go. I believe we are just about where we need to be here. Okay, let's not needlessly waste our RCS. I'll move this guy out of the way real quick, as we do still want to dock. There we go. This is much, much better. I believe that was actually worth it, even though we've sort of got this whole problem going on now to where I guess we're pointed directly towards the space station. Although I guess if I'm using RCS, I don't have to worry so much. This is a little bit slow. And that could be a problem for us. So I'm gonna push this guy in a little bit further. There we go. We now just have to bide our time. And we will be docking to this guy pretty soon. Now, a nice thing about the Space Station Science mod that I have installed is that they will continue to study while I'm out doing other missions. That is going to be very helpful for us, because if we, if we had to be focused on this the entire time, that would really kind of suck. But let me go ahead and I'm going to control from this docking port up here, because it is very important that we are able to get ourselves a good handle on this. I don't know why it is that it wants us to focus on the Clampotron Senior. However, it's about time we start slowing down. maybe we should not slow down that much. That is a little bit too slow. I'm going to kick it up to about 1 meter per second. And let's see which one is going to be closest to us. I believe maybe this guy over here. We'll set it as our target. Let's get ourselves aligned. We are doing fairly well in this docking maneuver, if I do say so myself. And we're still quite a bit away here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to slow down a little bit. Or you might wonder why I designed this in the way that I did. That's because these have to return to Earth. There's really no way around that. I got a little heat shield on it, as you can see. And it's designed in such a way that it'll re-enter when we're done with it. We do appear to be getting a little bit close. So I'm gonna throttle this down just a little bit. We aren't entirely aligned as we should be. You know, with us being as close as we are to this, I do need to take special care not to run into the space station. That might be a little bit unfortunate. Go a little bit faster than that, I think. And now we are more or less precisely where we want to be. And that is... I'm not going to say it's a perfect docking, That's good enough. We can start this experiment, and now we're getting 1 Eureka per hour out of, I believe, 50. So when we return from our Minmus mission, then we should be pretty close to getting back to what we're, we'll have a complete science still going on. Minmus Explorer is still doing its thing. And we are good on electric charge. So why don't we just get in as close as we can to perform this burn? And as you may know, it doesn't have to be the most precise thing here. We have considerable leeway here, it would seem. So I'm going to bring this down quite a bit. I'm going to get in position now. And we still do have a fair amount of delta V in this stage. So I am just going to take care of that. Let's see. This guy. I'm gonna wing it, I think. On this. It's a 2-second burn. Let's burn at 2 seconds at half speed. There we go. That encounter is in 5 days, which is really good for us. Let's go ahead and enter the Minmus sphere of influence. This is going to constitute most of our burn, it would seem. And there we go. We're in the Minmus sphere of influence now. Our orbital inclination is really good, actually. It's 92. We want to be, for the poles, about as close to 90 as possible. But that shouldn't be too difficult for us. Let me just kill this alarm clock entry here. And we will get started on this as soon as we can. May go at As soon as we can. I mean, not quite then. I mean, that'll be okay though. We are a little bit late. But I mean, that will be just fine. This makes it a lot easier for us to get down to where we want to get down to. Which is going to be about 10k or so. And the reason for this is so that we can exploit the overth effect. There may be some biomes, in fact, that we have not fully explored yet. I believe about here we're going to want to point maybe May will do normal here. But we'll go ahead, we'll roughly circularize, as we are very eccentric. And in the interim, I believe when we get up to about right here or so, I'm just going to zoom in so we have a better sense of where we're at. Yeah, maybe around here. I'm going to attempt to change our inclination. It's good to know that we're fairly close in, though. That's not a bad inclination for us. We still have a fair amount of delta V left, and in fact, we can land with this stage. I'm going to jettison it shortly before we, we get down there. Being that that's a 14-second burn, it'll be just fine. So let's place a maneuver node here. And let's circularize. I'm really just using this maneuver node here to figure out where it is we want to burn. I'm thinking maybe about 10 seconds. Or so. I'm gonna get this as close to circular as I can. And maybe pay attention to what I'm doing, because it would be unfortunate if, because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, we crashed and killed poor old Gilsey. Alright, that's about as circular, I believe, as we're going to get. Now it's just a matter of First of all, making sure we don't run out of electric charge, which I do not believe we're going to have to worry about. And then landing on one of the poles, which we should be above now. I'm going to get our EVA report here. And I believe this crew report we can't really grab here, but we can possibly take, if not a crew report, a temperature reading. Or maybe not. Well, so much for that. We can't really transmit it because I don't have an antenna on this thing, and even if I did, it just would not work that way. But we will quickly get this taken care of. Because I know that speed is sort of the name of the game here. And it will take us some time for us to get back. I mean, we'll have, according to TAC life support, and I'll bring it up to sort of demonstrate it here in a bit, we'll have plenty of life support for us to get home if we don't repeat what happened last time. That part will not be difficult for us to do. But we will be in this idyll soon. We just really want to graze the poles a bit. Something a bit like that, because we want to be able to stop ourselves whenever we get close enough. And another cool thing with Flight Engineer now is we can tell, like I maybe get an EVA report above the slopes here, which I've already done, but we can now tell when it is that we are going to hit another biome. So for instance, the lowlands, I believe, is something we do not have. Or maybe we do. Midlands, it's almost impossible not to get. And when we get over these poles, that is going to be the time for us to do our retro burn. So, you know, it won't be long now. And we have just enough in the way of Delta V here so that we will be over the poles soon. There we go. We are now over the poles. It is time for us to start burning retro. I believe that will put us... Yeah, that'll put us almost directly where we want to go. We're going to have to be careful here, of course, because we are going to be losing a significant amount of altitude. But since we're no longer in orbit, and since the planet's not going to rotate, I mean, it will rotate, but we won't have to worry about it rotating too much. I mean, I think that's close enough, personally. And we will want the surface settings here. Yeah, I'm beginning to think now is the time for us to utilize everything we have left here. And we will just go ahead and get our landing gear down. And we will land here. Because we do want this to be an easy landing. We don't want too much in the way of, too much in the way of failure going on here. Because Gilsey is a rookie. And he will not benefit from dying. Or, for that matter, neither shall we. So he's gonna start burning as hard as he can, around like 150. Because that is going to happen soon. But not even as hard as you can. You just burn hard. And we will touch the ground pretty soon. So we will There we go. We have landed. I believe we have a contract for some of this, but let's do our first thing first. We want a crew report. We also want to take some readings here. I'm going to go ahead and grab as much of this mystery goo here and hope that this will mean we get the... Well, we can't do more than one goo container. We're going to have to do it in space. But we're also going to want a temperature reading. And so, wherever he's gone, there we go. We'll take our data And that's not what I want to do. I want to get the data from the thermometer. We will collect the data from the experiment bay, from the goo canister, and then we should have an EVA report as well. No, don't override it. We'll plant a flag. And we'll just call that, Polar Expedition, not Huck Gaming's charity water campaign. Which, by the way, that is really interesting if you have not seen that yet. He's, done it, I believe, since last year. And the nifty thing about his charity water campaign is, you know, he does raise a lot of money for this particular charity. Oh, yeah. I guess I should have... I'm gonna go back out real quick and grab the EVA report that I was missing. This should give us a fair amount of science. There we go. We will now board. And it is now time for us to begin taking off. I'm going to get us going retrograde, or not prograde as soon as we can. That may not work out all that well for us. Here's my basic plan. We've got a ton of Delta V on this, so I'm going to abuse that fact and very quickly get us into orbit so we can make an inclination change. Get this guy up fast enough. See, our orbital period is what, 5 hours? It's about a day. I'm gonna say here is going to be our descending node. Maybe. That is still kind of weird in a way. I just want to make sure that whatever we do, we end up First of all, we end up on something that is not a collision course. If we can, in fact, I don't really care how we recover this. Just so long as we do. We're going to be coming in retrograde, which is going to probably cause us some problems. I don't think this approach is such a good idea. Let's see, we're at 87, we want to go to 90. And we're at 79 right now. So, you know, unfortunately, let's see, if that's alright, we want to go about like that. And maybe even lower our apoapsis. You know, I think we've got a good start here. As long as I keep on trimming this orbit, we will more or less be sorted here. What are we at now? We're at 37. And we are still at the lowest point in our orbit. That's kind of the deal with Minmus, is that it's you know, it's very easy for you to run out of delta V just doing this, and we will if we're not careful. This inclination change is really quite expensive. If for no other reason than I think we're at the descending node. I'm not entirely sure about that fact, though. if I get this down to something reasonable, then that would be great. And so I think I'm just going to leave it at that. And get us circularized. Although there's not really any point to circularization at this time. You know, now we just gotta find a way to get out. And with Minmus, that can be a bit problematic. It's been a while since I've done anything with Minmus, but we do want to leave as quickly as we can. And so that position there, I think that may be good enough for us. Though I wouldn't really count on it. That's in 12 minutes time at any rate. And there's really no telling if we come out here, like I believe we will. I don't know where our escape is. Oh, yeah, okay, we need to get on that ASAP. I'm gonna leave that 200 there, because we don't have the luxury of waiting until we get to apoapsis to do this. However, I believe if we do ourselves a small radial burn, or a small burn like this, we will get where we want to get to. Okay, let's do that. We will come in rather steep like this, but I believe it's worth it. And the good thing is we have RCS in the event that I do happen to run out of fuel. Ooh. Yeah. And that might be too shallow of a trajectory, but we don't really have to worry as much. Okay, we'll do 30. And I'm gonna come out here and collect this goo. Except this is, it would seem, a really bad orientation for us. Okay, so the goo shall be gathered momentarily. I don't know what's up with the camera. Nope. I really do not like what is going on with this camera. Quickly collect this data. I believe I'm on the wrong side here. No, stop doing that. This is getting really annoying because, like, the camera just kept on flipping around, and that might help if I zoom in a bit so I can see where I'm at with respect to this guy. Okay, there we go. Now, while we're at it, since we're waiting, I am going to get in a little bit closer and see. We need to be extremely careful with this 1,000 times time warp. But I'm going to go see. Well, I guess we're about to hit periapsis pretty soon, though. I mean, I guess it would not hurt to just check to see, real quick, how we are doing on our data, because I believe we should be done with it. Several days have elapsed now. If we take a look at this, finalized results, we definitely want to recover that. I'm not sure if this is going to be the worst deal for us, but we will go ahead and switch back to this guy. That means we can recover that science. And if we're lucky, we'll end up over carbon. I somehow doubt that that's going to happen. I mean, we'll be over carbon, but not over KSC. I guess I didn't accept that contract to plant the Minmus flag like I thought I had. I am just going to get rid of this. It causes trouble. For reasons you'll see in a bit, because that guy's basically got bizarre aerodynamic properties. I thought about keeping it, but it's just, you know, we're going to be heating up pretty soon anyway. And I would rather live than crash. And we may possibly skip out of the atmosphere at this point. We are beginning to burn a significant amount of ablative shielding. I would not be surprised if, you know, we might get a little bit closer than I'd initially thought. Okay, what just broke? Something has broken. I forget what key it is. I think it's F11, F9 maybe. No, F9 is to reload. One of these keys will give us a report of what has been broken here. Although I bet you I could tell it's probably an RCS jet. let's get ourselves down really quickly. I'm gonna look at the surface height real quick. Okay, I'm gonna begin popping the chutes. And you can see we have plenty here, plus an additional 50 science. I mean, we could have gotten what I wanted with that small amount of science I was missing from the, from the probe or whatever. That's okay. We are going to slow down, and then we are going to have braking rockets going here at the end, as we will be landing a little bit heavy. But because we have mono here, that will be okay. We just want to get down as quickly as possible. That will be soon. About 200 meters or so. We are slowing down just a little bit. Not enough for me to really be happy with it, but I'm going to start firing retro. And there we go. That is a vessel worth recovering. And hopefully we'll be able to do more things. I'm going to have to put more experiments up in orbit pretty soon. But Gilsey, he's done alright for himself. And we have 719 science. Let's just grab that last space capsule. That's at the space station. Oh, which one is this? Alright, this guy is still on a suborbital trajectory, I see. Okay, that is not the one I wanted to go to. This is the one I want to go to. We will now prepare to undock this guy. I've never tested re-entry on this guy, so I'm hoping, it'll be easy enough to do. I think if I do it a bit like this, we have more than enough fuel to get down. Maybe. Oh, I'm in surface mode. No wonder that wasn't going down. That will put us over the desert, which will give us some recovery. And there we go. We shouldn't need much in the way of RCS here. But when we hit that atmosphere, which is going to be soon, I'm just gonna wait for this guy to go here. And this could be a problem. I hadn't realized this, but the parachutes are slightly outside of the heat shield. Which means we might not recover this capsule. And that might be a bit of an issue for us. If we're lucky, then they won't heat up. My guess is that we won't be so lucky, and that they will. We're actually coming down a bit shallower than intended. This is not so good for us. Because we're coming in really hard now. A lot harder than I wanted to. I'm not sure if we will survive. The best thing for us to do right now is to spin stabilize. Or maybe not. I mean, in reality, if we can just get this thing down to where it needs to be, it will slow down quickly. That is the good thing. Then it'll be okay by me. We will hit the atmosphere relatively soon. And what I was afraid of, it looks like, may be happening. We may lose those parachutes. Which is quite unfortunate. But fortunately for us, we're heating up a little bit. Not much though. We may actually get out of this. Maybe I am overdoing it just a little bit in my worry. But we will be really close to the KSC. There's K2 over there. A blade of shielding is holding. And I believe we will... it's not K2, we're in the middle of that peninsula, but we're close enough to recover some of the more expensive parts of this. I believe we're going to pop out right above the water here. Oh no! You know what I totally forgot about? We are out of the line of sight of KSC. Well, we won't be getting the science back from that. I'm gonna have to think about how to deal with that. But before we bring this to a close, I'll just ignore the phone real quick. I do want to get science of some kind. Maybe I'll get it next episode. I think that is kind of weird. Whatever just happened with this blue sign. But that'll be it for now, I believe. Oh, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and get it. One of the things I am going to get really quick, I do want to get these guys here. This will allow for us to have larger solar panels and stuff that goes out to Duna. So that'll be good for us. But on top of that, these guys here allow us to make proper landers. So I'll get that. And maybe, I'm not entirely sure of this, we want some experiments, so I'm going to possibly grab this guy here and spend the remaining 90 on these plane wheels. And so I will see you next time. Until then, this has been Thy Lord Root.